Audible lets you enjoy all your audio entertainment in one app. You'll always find the best of what you love or something new to discover.
As an Audible member, you can choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog, including the latest bestsellers and new releases.
I am currently listening to Drunkish by Stephanie Wilder Taylor. I really like Stephanie, and this is a book about leaving alcohol. It's called A Memoir of Loving and Leaving Alcohol, and I really dig her take on it. She's a funny person, and I love having her voice actually in my ear, reading it to me. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/crappens or text crappens to 500-500.
When you choose Organic Valley, not only will you be enjoying great tasting dairy, you'll help to save over 1,600 small organic family farms who are protecting over 400,000 acres of organic farmland and all the plants and animals that call it home. This is dairy you can feel good about. It's great tasting, high-quality organic dairy, ethically sourced from small organic family farms. To find Organic Valley Dairy near you, visit ov.coop. That's ov.coop. You can power up your playtime with the Nintendo Switch system, the home of Mario and Friends. You may discover exciting surprises with Mario, Princess Peach, and more in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Or challenge friends to a race in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You can head to Nintendo.com to learn more about the Nintendo Switch system. Games and systems sold separately.
Watch what crappens. Who cares what happens when there's so much that crappens? Watch what crappens. Who cares what happens when there's so much that crappens?
Hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo that we just love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandelker, and joining me today is the one and only Mr. Ronnie Karam. Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
Hi, what's going on with you?
Not much. Just, here we are, midweek. It's PumpRules Day, arguably one of the biggest days of the week for us, especially this week, where there's a giant cover story in the New York Times about Tom Sandoval, followed by a giant story about Tom Sandoval in Interview magazine. So this world is
fucking over. I'm sorry, but like, are we even making an effort to like maintain a world? Why are you guys writing fucking cover stories about Tom Sandoval? What a loser! Okay,
what a loser.
Get a fucking life. It's been a rough day for me. You know, I mean, I was out there in the world earlier. I mean, it was like the LA riots out there.
What happened?
I'm just kidding. Oh. It's just this quote from Tom Sandoval is so fucking disgusting. I can't believe it. Like comparing his basic ass existence to George Floyd. And
can you believe it?
I mean, I can believe it, actually.
Of course.
And you know who else could believe it? The people who wrote the article. They could fucking believe it. Because when it got to this part in the article, you know what? Finish your intro and I'll go into this article.
Well, okay. There's a little teaser.
Just my overall note. We need to just stop writing fucking articles about Tom Sandoval. And what are you guys having? Who's that famous photographer for Vanity Fair?
Annie Leibovitz.
What are we having Annie Leibovitz do the photographs now? Why are you giving him fucking artistic photos worty of the Louvre?
That was actually the thing that offended me. That actually offended me so much because it's like, it is giving, because in those moments while he's taking those photos, even though he's saying this bullshit, he's like, dude, I look sick in that photo, man. That was like a sick photo shoot.
They're giving him rock star presents. For what? For being a fucking loser and cheating on his I mean, even beyond the being a fucking loser part. I mean, even beyond the cheating on his fucking girlfriend part. What did he do to get in the New York Times Magazine? Have some self-respect over there, for Christ's sake.
I know. And by the way, they didn't even ask us for a quote. So, like, it's totally
Oh, God.
Could you imagine?
Speaking of Tom Sandoval, levels of egomaniacal. We're like, why are we in that?
The day the New York Times actually comes to us for a quote, that will be a thing. So anyway,
the time is near. If Tom Sandoval's in the New York Times Magazine, it was good enough for us then 2 years ago, at least. I mean, if we're going
well, that's what my mom is always like, well, Ben, New York Times is slowly coming around to reality TV. They just wrote something about, what is this? Scandoval? I guess. So here is the news, everyone. We actually have news to announce today. big news, double big news. We have added a show to our European tour. In case you didn't already see on our social media, we're going to Dublin. We are going to Dublin. So now we have 3 shows. It looks like it's only going to be 3 shows. It's going to be London, Dublin, and Birmingham. Those are all going to be at the end of May for this year. The tickets, I'm so sorry. We said the tickets go on sale today, which is sort of true. The tickets really go on sale on Friday, but there's a Patreon pre-sale that already started this morning. And that's for all 3 cities. So if you are there in that corner of Europe, or if you just want to visit that corner of Europe, come join us there. We'll be there. It's going to be great. The show in London is actually part of a comedy festival. There's all sorts of comedians that'll be there at performing. So, like, come for us, stay for everyone else. I don't know, but it'll be so fun. Some people have been asking if we have a show in Glasgow, which would have just been a dream. But unfortunately, we could not make Scotland work out on this trip. Which, of course, we want Scotland to work out because all we do half the week is say "Merder." So unfortunately, no Glasgow. I'm sorry, but we do have Dublin and London and Birmingham, and it's gonna be fabulous. Tickets at watchwhatcrappens.com. That was the announcement.
Also, go get your tickets for the Netflix is a Comedy Festival that is in May as well. You can find that at Watch What Crappens. Also, this is a video recap, and we do bonus episodes every week on Patreon. So go catch those over there. Okay, let's get into this.
Well, you want to talk about that article? You want to talk about this New York Times article? So I was saying before, I haven't actually sat down to read it yet because I am very much like Kyle Richards. And this was an article that was in the New York Times magazine section, which means it's like a sit down and read this article. And honestly, I'm a busy person. And also, honestly, do I need to have a sit down and read moment about Tom Sandoval? I'm not sure that I really do. What else do I need to learn? What nuances is the New York Times going to tell me that I have not already been able to discern for myself? I will read it, but that's going to be a weekend project for me. So, but did you check it out?
I did. Now, as far as reading the whole thing, listen, this is very New York Timesy. It's very verbose. Okay, it goes on and on and on, and it explains what reality TV is to smart people, because smart people read the New York Times. In theory, they do not watch Vanderpump Rules. So it's kind of a condescending article in a way, because it's like, this is what reality TV is. And this is what reality TV is like. They did it in a very interesting way. I felt like they kind of wrote it like a reality TV show article, which was interesting, and they had one of Tom's PR people who I think they were calling it someone from Tom's PR team. From reading this and just knowing Bravo as we do, I'm thinking this was someone who works at Bravo who was there to kind of stop Tom because
either that or someone on Piccolo in his band.
Right, some high school kid that is getting paid in Cheetos and stage time. And bus tickets to Poughkeepsie or wherever the fuck they're performing these days.
Poughkeepsie.
So, yeah, there's someone there because after he makes this comment about George Floyd and all this other stuff, the network starts calling. So there's a couple of comments to Riley, who is this person, this PR person, furiously writing comments throughout the interview. But basically, every time you fast forward through this article to a Tom quote, it is just an absolutely douchebag comment, like every single time. He'd grown apart from her, blah, blah, blah. I just needed to get away from the show. I just wanted to not feel watched. I just wanted to take a breath.
Oh, really? That's why he went on stage for the band that's literally called The Most Extras? You just didn't want to be watched. I get it.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's just get to the quote, shall we?
I was about to say, let's actually, for anyone who's been living under a rock or just somehow was lucky enough to miss this, there was this quote that really went viral yesterday, which honestly, I was also very upset about because I felt like yesterday was our moment in the sun because we were getting attention for the fact that Heather Gay unfollowed us, which you can hear about on Crappy Hour. Go listen to that And I was like, okay, well, you know what? This is our moment in the sun. And then here comes Tom Sandoval to ruin our low-level gossipy story.
Our moment in the sun. That's so sad.
I know.
Real Housewife unfollowed us. Wow. Okay, so this was the quote. So I asked Sandoval why he thought the scandal got so big. And he said,
I'm not a pop culture historian, really, but I witnessed the O.J. Simpson thing and George Floyd and all these big things, which is really weird to compare to this, I think. But do you think in a weird way it's a little bit the same?
No, Tom. No, Tom, it's
No.
not the fucking same. So then the writer says, I looked over at Riley, who was typing furiously on her phone. I think I knew what he meant. He was trying to express the oddity of becoming the symbolic center of a nationwide discussion in a major news story. What he communicated instead was something more honest, which is just how much the experience had made him lose perspective.
Which is I love that. It's such a passive-aggressive classic New York Times diss.
And it's also just trying to make something so much smarter out of what it actually is. It's like, God forbid you just call this person a lump of shit. You know what I mean? Like, the writer should have been like, and that's when I started questioning what I'm doing with my life. And when did this fucking newspaper turn into this? And why did I ever care to work at this fucking dump? You know, that I would be sitting here across this piece of shit as an assignment. But instead, they're like waxing poetic about how deep what he said probably really was, you know?
I mean, I loved it. To me, that was just like, that's classic New York Times shade. That's how New York Times shades people. I thought, it was such a wild quote. He could have gotten away with maybe comparing it to O.J. Simpson, but when you bring George Floyd into it, it's like, are you like, George Floyd was not some sort of tabloid curiosity. George Floyd was like a person who died. Well, I mean, technically in O.J. Simpson that happened too, but a person died and caused worldwide protests and a lot of true reckoning, not reality reckoning. And so for him to elevate himself to that moment is so vainglorious. It's so typical Sandoval, but it's like not even like campy hilarious. I mean, elevate yourself to like Lorena Bobbitt, for crying out loud, but you're not George Floyd. Get over yourself, sir. It was so tone deaf, so typically Tom Sandoval. It's amazing how this guy continues to keep shooting himself in the foot. And honestly, all he has to do right now is be quiet because, like we've said a million times, the audience is ready to turn on Ariana. We already had a lot of people comment, because she won Bravo Celebrity of the Year in the Crappies. And a lot of people say, oh, really? So getting cheated on just makes you Bravo Celebrity of the Year? There's a lot of that energy out there, which is so obnoxious. And all he has to do is just like sit there. And yet he is like, no, I want people to still hate me. Come hate me.
Yeah, well, he just doesn't know. I mean, the guy's just dumb as a fucking brick. You know what I mean?
He really is.
And that's that goes back to that old saying that you see spray painted all over Los Angeles. Stop making stupid people famous. This is what you get. You know what I mean? This is what you get. So this was my favorite part of the article. This is after this. It says, the next day, I was supposed to attend the taping of one of Sandoval's confessional interviews for the show. I was about to get in my car when I received a text from his publicist, Riley's boss. He'd rather you don't attend today, it read. He's not feeling the best. The next morning, I got a call from Baskin, and the day that Alex Baskin, the Evolution producer guy, the head of
Not Baskin and Robbins.
And the day after that, a Bravo publicist rang me late on a Friday. Some of what Sandoval had said had gotten back to Bravo, and everyone was concerned. What was this? What did he say about O.J. Simpson and George Floyd exactly? Maybe Sandoval wasn't ready for this. The Bravo publicist asked if I really needed to see him again. Could the network facilitate an interview with one of the show's other stars? Yeah, sure. He just made a comment about George Floyd. Throw us Lala for 10 minutes.
No. Bravo is regretting very much having Tom Sandoval be untethered in front of a New York Times reporter. Yeah, that's because there's no. By the way, you cannot tell me that Sandoval is going to ever deny a New York Times reporter to sit in on his confessional tapings. Like, that is not happening. He will have a New York Times reporter follow him anywhere if he can.
Yeah. And he signed up for Vanderpump Rules because he thought people should see what it's like being an LA Mactor. So he just did it to help us, educate us, guys.
Like driving down the 405, changing clothes, comp cards, and headshots splayed all over my back seat. Yeah. I mean, the show was okay, but when I punched Jax, that sent it into the stratosphere.
Okay, relax, sir. It wasn't when
pretending he was ever the guy who sent that show into the stratosphere. No, that was
Stassi and Jax.
Stassi and Jax. Yes, sorry.
Listen. As long like it doesn't make them any better, but they were the ones who did it. They were the monsters. You were not the monster who did it.
Yeah, and then Riley remembered watching that episode with her middle school friends. We were like, this show is epic, she said.
Dude, it was,
Sandoval said. Riley says, it was so cool.
That was such a fucking disturbing, her middle school friends. So his publicist was in middle school when this show started, and now she's his publicist. I don't know even how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so long. There was a part where he's, going on about like, I used to want to be a real actor and look down on reality TV, but now I look down on actors.
I'm like, bro, can you do this?
Oh dear.
Meryl Streep's at home, kind of giving herself scrapes on her arm with her nails, just like totally insecure about herself. Like, what have I wasted my life doing? Why have I worked on all of these accents?
What exactly does this mean when he says, can you do this? Does that make a tone deaf statements about George Floyd? Is it about appearing on camera in a motorcycle with a sidecar? Like, what exactly is this part that he's challenging the actors to do?
It was just written, but that he pointed at his face like,
can you do this?
Have the weight of the world on you?
Gesturing towards the pompadour,
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
What a hero.
What a flooza.
Well, Tom Sandoval never fails to disappoint, I suppose, except that's exactly what his brand is. But
disappointment
and failure.
And this, Mactor.
Wow, he just wanted to give us an insight into the world of a Mactor. That is something that a Mactor would say, by the way. That is 100%.
I want to give insight into the world of a Mactor. Hot guy, not hot enough to be a model, not good enough to be an actor. So you're both. Driving along, you got headshots in your car.
Wow. It's pretty incisive so far.
Yeah. Life of a Mactor driving a Nissan.
Wow.
So, that sounds like so I've got a lot of fun reading ahead of me. And then I think the thing for Interview Magazine, that just popped up this morning, and it looks like it's a profile of him holding desserts. I don't even understand that. But, I don't want to hear him complaining because now he's on the cover of the New York Times Magazine, and he's in Interview Magazine, and he's living his best life in those photo shoots, as you said. And, I don't know if I want to hear any complaint like, dude, the world's against me, dude. I mean, because the world is against him, but he has his fans, and he is definitely getting his exposure, and he's getting what he wants out of his career that he's always wanted, which is like massive media attention.
Yeah. So congratulations. All right, so here we go. This is episode 4 of season 11, and this is another gloss over and kind of ode to Tom Sandoval this episode. This is a poor Tom. Oh, poor Tom. No one will forgive Tom, and he's having dark thoughts.
Yes, and it opens up with people, getting ready for the day, for all the nothing they're going to be doing. Katie's doing her hair. Lala's looking through a bin. Schwartz is doing push-ups. Sandoval's brushing his teeth. Ariana's brushing her teeth. It's, exciting times happening in the world, in the world of this cast.
Yeah, Brock's making a bottle for summer ocean moon face winter in the winter. And she's crying, and he's like, oh, those are crocodile tears.
And then we see the telltale sign that we're going to James and Allie's house. Southwest.
The opening of Lost.
I was going to say a Southwest airplane flying overhead. I mean, it's like clockwork. They just have it. Just every single time it goes over, and Jim's like, whoa, pool party. I'm so excited about it, but it's like a lot of work hosting for all these people. Doing a pool party is hard.
It's our first time hosting for a pool party. I'm getting prepared to be a host. Welcome to Costa Kennedy. Not only did I buy the food and drinks, I bought the barbecue as well.
Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, I worked really hard today. I went to Home Depot. I went to Vaughn's. I went to freaking Target. I'm like, that sounds like an excellent day. Like, I would be jealous of that. And so he's like, okay, Ale, you're the decorator outside. Okay. She's like, yeah, I'm doing it. Ha! I'm doing it. And then he sprays her with water. Stop, James.
James, stop. James. That's Allie. James, no.
James,
I'm going to pee in the bush.
it.
James, no. So then we go to Ariana and Katie, and they're like going over what they should wear. Like, is this a one-piece day? Is like a two-piece too much? It's like basically me and Ben before any show. And then she's like, can you believe our Lyft driver last night? I can't believe that. And we find out that their Lyft driver for See You Next Tuesday was like, whoa, I remember this house. You and your husband were fighting. I think he cheated on you. He was the Lyft driver from the night, March 1st.
Wow, that is what it's always strange if you get like a rideshare driver twice. Like it's happened to me, like I think just once, maybe twice in my life. It's always strange. And even when I was driving Uber, it was strange to get the same passenger, and that would happen. And I'm like, I remember this place. But what I'm surprised at is that any driver could just remember one generic modern farmhouse from another. Like they all look the same. I don't know. I would never be able to say, oh, I remember this house. And like it looks like literally every other house on this show.
Well, they're so big. You know how they put those giant houses on the tiny lots? I think that's why you remember, because they put this huge house on this little tiny lot, and you're like, oh my God, how is that house even fitting on this lot? And is this legal? And is this permitted? You know, all these questions run through your head when you see those big McMansions on the little lot. So yeah, I think you remember that, especially if you've got Tom in your back seat going,
One day I'm going to be in the New York Times and you're going to regret this.
and her going, oh, shut up, you fucking loser.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
You know what's the worst is when you are shopping online and you're so excited for everything in your cart, and then you look and everything's going to arrive in like 5 weeks, and you're like, why am I even doing this? And you just give up. I hate that. Don't you, Ronnie?
Oh my God, I hate that. And also when it's so expensive. I mean, listen, shipping can make or break a sale. And as your business grows, ShipStation can help optimize how you ship your orders so you can stay competitive while you scale up.
ShipStation is really great for all of this stuff. They've got a free trial and quick setup. It's really easy to try things out before you commit or get started right away.
Their dashboard is so user-friendly. You can easily automate shipping tasks. You can manage orders in one simple dashboard.
You know, one thing also that's really cool is that ShipStation has enterprise solutions that reduce warehouse costs and improve profitability. And like, as your business grows, you can really just save thousands on shipping costs because of that.
ShipStation has industry-leading discounted rates from USPS, UPS, DHL, and Global Post, with discounts up to 89% off USPS and UPS rates. Optimize and keep up your momentum for growth with ShipStation. Use promo code Crappens today at ShipStation.com to sign up for your free 60-day trial.
That's ShipStation.com, promo code Crappens.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car right in your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
The driver was like, oh, yeah, I remember this house. It's the only house I've ever dropped someone off at where there was a strange purple glow coming through all the windows.
You're right, exactly. The house that Hugh built. So she's like, well, I was like, we're not together anymore. And he was like, yeah, makes sense. Because that was huge. And like, he has no idea, like, it was like a huge thing that happened.
Yeah, Ariana's laughing that he has like no idea how many people probably want to talk to him. So Ariana thought that they're talking about last night when they went to Sir, and Ariana thought Lala had some really great points, but then Schwartz was acting all like, oh my God, you guys are ganging up on me. And she's like, 3 people who have something to say, that means they're being ganged up on. And so then she's like doing her interview, and she has like she's like doing her makeup. She has like her mirror out. She's doing the thing on her face. They're definitely trying to give her the "I'm too big for this show" vibe. I think they're going to try to sort of villainize her a little bit because they could have very easily asked her to say this line again, but instead they put in the one where she's putting makeup on, and she's like, "The guy who I haven't spoken to in however many months, all of a sudden is some sort of authority on who I am and how I live my life and how I think and feel. That's interesting, just like a man."
So Katie's like, what? Like, I'm supposed to get a Tahoe? Like, I'm supposed to abandon all the work I'm doing right now, like to go on a Schwartz trip? And she tells us, yeah, I'd rather eat a jean jacket.
That's such a specific choice. Like, of all the things to eat, a jean jacket.
Is glass not available? I mean,
I like Katie talking about how she's so busy opening up this sandwich shop that she can't go to Tahoe as she prepares to go to a pool party
in Burbank.
Under a flight path with poop falling out of a Southwest airline lab onto the lawn.
So they're like, yeah, we're not going to that. Fuck that trip. So then we go to Villa Rosa, and Sheena and Lala are there, and they're joking like, oh my God, every time I pull up to this house, I'm like, this is just like mine's. It's like mine's.
Should we place like a bet that Lisa will make a comment that I'm not wearing any clothes?
Darling, you're not wearing any clothes. Oh my God, we just totally made a bet.
Darling, you haven't met this guy before. And she holds up a new dog. It looks like really all the other dogs. Just, this is Donut. I named her after Ken's favorite pillow. Why have you guys got no clothes on?
So this dog, the cloning is starting to break. So you know how the first clone is almost perfect, and the next clone is like not perfect, and the next clone is kind of melty faced, and then the next clone is just like two-headed. What is wrong with this clone?
I know you want to make a multiplicity reference right now, so the floor is yours.
No, I was leaving that open. I was leaving that open for you.
I've actually never seen it.
You've never seen Multiplicity?
No, that's why. Every time you mention it, that's why I never pile on because I haven't seen it, but I know you like to mention it.
Wow. No, I mean, it's that, and you finally saw Steel Magnolias, right?
I finally saw The Color Purple. Steel Magnolias, I still have not seen.
Okay, so Multiplicity is when they just basically make 1,000 Dolly Partons, and each Dolly Parton has a different outfit.
And one of them has an allergic reaction to something.
Just kidding. That's like my favorite. That would be my version of Multiplicity. Just make 9 million Dolly Partons. No, I wasn't actually going to make a Multiplicity statement. I was just going to say this dog looks like it is at the tail end of the cloning cycle. Let's just say that. This dog's not winning any DNA. You know what I mean? It's got the tail end. This poor thing. It looks like an Ewok that's been like smushed down with an iron and like run over by a tractor. Stop cloning your dogs.
The poor donut. Well, yeah, sweet donut. Yeah, I didn't study donut enough, but my impression of donut is that maybe donut is on the raw end of the cloning stick there. But is that a raw end of a cloning stick? I don't even know if that.
Fuck me with.
I think I just
okay.
I think I just mixed metaphors and added a new twist to it. He's on the raw end of the cloning stick. I kind of feel like this moment's like George Floyd. This is I just made up a new statement. So Lisa Vanderpump is like, oh, hello. So I really want to talk to you about so many things, and I don't think you're going to like everything I have to say. And they're like, okay, what's it about? And she's, well,
can you believe it? Raquel was found in the hot tub with Tom Schwartz and Sandoval when Ariana was out of town, in the hot tub, in the nighttime. Ken, that was last season, darling. All right. Go back inside, all right, till you remember what I've told you to bring out here this time. All right.
We have to give him the 2024 system update.
He's still stuck on Big Sur.
Apparently, at nighttime, he has a whole different look. So she's like, come with me. I have to finish making this vase of flowers. So they go outside and she's just making a vase and they just stare at her making a vase. It's definitely like a rich person thing to do, just to remind the poor people how rich you are, that like you are like making a vase in your
Well,
free
she
time.
used to have the excuse of the restaurants, right? Like, oh, I'm doing this for the restaurants. This is what I do. I work so hard every day. I wake up and I put pink flowers in a vase. And then she would take it to the restaurant and be like, look at me. I put flowers into a vase.
You're right.
And they would all bow,
Yes.
you know. And now she's just like, fuck it, everywhere's closing. So I'm just doing vases just for me. Random things to put in front of Max's face when he's trying to tell me how his day is. You know how it goes, darling.
I just tell my sweet son, Max, here, can you take these flowers and put them over there? The man needs to bust. He needs to bust to be alive.
He needs something to water. He's just not whole, that one.
I need him to come over and ask if he can clear this plate. It just makes him feel happy.
So she's like, I spent time with Sandoval, and I know for a fact he's in a very, very dark place. And she was like, well, I'm pissed because I reached out to him and when his friend died and he blocked me. And he's reaching into this villain energy and I'm really not here for it. He needs to humble himself. He needs to have humility. And I told him he better find a good therapist too.
Yeah, he needs a good therapist. Or instead of a therapist, he could go to a place called Intimacy and get into a cold bath. So Sheena's like, yeah, my conversation with Sandoval, like, could not have been, like, more frustrating. Like, he's taking, like, no accountability for, like, anything he's done. And so, like, Lisa says he's depressed. I haven't seen that. I've just seen him project. So Lisa says, maybe he's angry and upset. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a broken bird, my favorite kind of bird.
And Lala is saying, no, he's doubling down. What did he say to me last night? What did he say? What did he say about me, Sheena? And Sheena's like, he called you a narcissist. She's like, yeah, a narcissist. And then we see the clip of Sheena saying, a narcissist wouldn't call themselves a narcissist. And he goes,
Yeah, I know. That's why Lala won't call herself that. Burn!
So to show that Lala's not a narcissist, she absolutely does not make this about her. She goes, I've messed up a lot of times, and I feel like I own it all the time. Yes, I should have asked some more questions about Randall's. I'm not stupid. I understand it. And you know what? I was in a relationship that was tough. I had to watch a man bounce fried chicken thighs on his stomach for kink. Yes, it was hard, and I didn't. I didn't ask questions, and I knew I should. Okay, Lala, you're talking about Randall again. We're supposed to be talking about Sandoval.
and I love that Lala's still trying to make that story. I mean, this cast, I swear. So Vanderpump's like, oh, and we never held that against you. What are you talking about? You all held it against her for like years and years. Of course you did. This is Vanderpump Rules. And she goes, but he has. He's going to the press and he's saying that Lala needs to share her lives and that she's not real. And I just can't forgive someone when they can't acknowledge they hurt me.
But you have the support and love right now. Life is going swimmingly for you. Look at what you've achieved. Look at all the... I mean, you moved to Westwood. What's an accomplishment? But he's doing nothing. He has no support, darling.
Look at poor Sandoval. He looks like a pottery version of his former self. Just dried out and clay looking. He's aged 30 years. I mean, that was before the affair as well, but no one's really sure, but I don't know if he's allergic to moisturizer or what it is. I didn't really ask, really. I don't care, but you should, darling.
His own... The people who work in his kitchens call him Clay Duval. It's just sad. It's sad.
He really has turned into Clay Duval.
Yeah, Clay Duval.
He does look like a pottery Sandoval. Look at that. So she's like, darling. Okay, Lisa, you know what? If you're just so worried about Tom, why don't you take him off television, first of all, because it's obviously not good for him, and take him into your home and really work on him, Lisa, like one of your projects, instead of foisting his ass on the rest of us, okay? And giving him, a presence for what he did, and congratulating him and just moving him up in the world for what he did. Like, I'm not buying it from Lisa. And also, I'm really, truly, and this is me not being bitchy, but I said it just after something bitchy. I feel for Lisa with her brother. Obviously, that's terrible, but that's not fair to use that to guilt other people into things regarding other people that have nothing to do with them. That's not right.
I don't know. I mean, I think that like what she went through with her brother was really terrible, obviously. And so I think that she's probably particularly sensitive to it. So like, I actually don't find fault with her having that instinct. I just don't know with Sandoval. I think you're like some people were saying that online too, that if Sandoval, like Sandoval, the healthiest thing for him, if he is really in a challenging space with his mental health, is to not be on reality TV. So Lisa's basically saying how that he's like a shadow of his former self, and she doesn't want to see anyone go down a path of that kind of depression when the world is against you. And she says she's seen depression, she knows depression, she remembers what her brother said. It's always going to stay with her, and there's just like only so much that someone can take before they break. And she just doesn't want to be in a position where they all have regret. And she says that she never thought suicide would touch her life. And when it's just, this is all like a massive trigger for her. And she really feels that Sandoval is not the sort of person to say he has suicidal thoughts unless he means it.
Well, I think that it sucks because it's like, everybody loves Lisa, and especially these girls. And you're not going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to completely disregard what you just said about your brother because obviously that's a very real thing and no one's going to be that mean, but it puts them in a place where they're immediately like, oh my God, Lisa went through this. So it's almost like Lisa went through this, so now let's just let Tom back in. And I think
what is very difficult here, I'm just going to be honest.
I don't want to say like it's not fair, like, because, it's...
I'm going to say something that may get me into trouble, but it's coming from an honest place of how I feel, which is that what's difficult about this situation here is that I don't think anyone wants to see anyone who is struggling with their mental health, who is in depression, who may hurt themselves. No one wants to see anyone go down that path. And I don't even want to see Tom Sandoval go down that path. I don't want to see Rachel go down that path. I don't want to see anyone go down that path. And what's hard here is that when, Lisa says, when Sandoval says he feels this way, he's not going to say that unless he means it. The problem for me is that his credibility is so in the gutter, and I have to grapple with this idea that I want to believe someone. If someone says that they're having suicidal ideations, if someone says they're depressed, my instinct is to say, no matter what, you have to believe that, and you have to lead with that. But what's hard is that his credibility is such shit that honestly, I can't help but feel like, is he really, or is this just like another part of like the story he's weaving to gain sympathy? And I absolutely hate having to have that doubt. And I tried to skirt around it because I'm like, I don't want people to be like, how could you doubt that? But like, honestly, it is what I think when I watch this show. I hope to God that I'm 100% wrong. Because that would be real bullshit if there were some sort of manipulation around that. But that is truly how I feel when I watch this, and I grapple with that. I think
most people do, right? I mean, it's Tom, so I think most people do feel that. But I think it's just one of those things where if somebody says it, you just take it at face value no matter what, because
and that's what I'm doing.
It's one of those things where it's like it's not really as important to be right, I guess, in this instance, as it's...
Yeah, that's a really good point.
But at the same time, it also doesn't just... It's also not just a get-out-of-jail-free card where everybody needs to be like, okay, whatever you need then, It's... I think in one way, it's like, well, let's... Not us personally, but like the cast. Okay, well, you don't need to be doing podcasts about him every single day. You don't need to be giving interviews about it every single day. You don't need to make it all about completely villainizing it every single day. But... I don't think it also needs to be like, okay, but then we need to shove him in Ariana's face every episode either. So, I mean, I don't really know what the answer is, but it's a quagmire. It's a
classic Better PumpRules quagmire. Yeah. But you know what? I was like, I was going to skirt around this. I was like, we're on a podcast. I have to express how I feel when I watch this show. And that's how I feel. And I don't like it. But it is like, so that's why when Lisa says, oh, he's someone who, when he says this, he wouldn't lie about it. I think that was what made me be like, I have to say something about this, because the truth is that he has deeply lied about things, like really, really fundamentally lied in hurtful ways. And so it's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to take anything that he says. I have to take everything with some skepticism, no matter what now. So it's difficult.
Yeah. So
This very important thing is difficult to get through.
for us, as we're like this narcissist, and we're like, guys, this is how difficult this is for us. God damn Sandoval. What he's done to us. But yeah, it is a difficult place. But that's kind of why we're in that place. You know what I mean? Because you get put in that difficult place, and it's like, oh, but then, you know, you're emotionally torn. So then you have to put that person back. You have to let that person back in. Dun, dun, dun.
I know, because we're good people.
Yeah, we're really good people, guys. Sandoval is now the third co-host of the show.
Guys, we felt so bad about Tom Sandoval. He's joining us now. Lala, so then Lala goes, you know, I hear what you're saying, and I most certainly don't want anyone to wear this for the rest of their life, because I know what it's like to continue seeing me. I was like,
For fuck's sake.
The way she is trying, because Lala has never been able to have the A story on this show. She's always B or C, and she has, every time she has a scandal, someone has just a bigger version of it. So she's like, okay, so the coast is clear. I can have a scandal now. Can I? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's like, yeah, it's just like me. Because I don't want them to have to carry it like I had to. I never really gave Sandoval's health much thought. In my mind, I looked at him as someone like my ex. They don't have like feelings. And I don't want to be angry all the time. It's truly killing me. It's killing me.
And this hasn't been like easy for me, especially I was so distracted the other day that I burned my famous enchiladas. He was genuinely like one of the best friends I ever had in my life.
So she's like, but doesn't that make it easier if you just forgive? And I don't know. Have you called Kyle Richards lately? She's not going through a great time.
Ronnie, that was so good.
You mean, just saying.
Wow. Good night, everyone. Good night. We are watching Rapids. The show is over. There's no need to top it. Nothing else needs to be said. That was good.
So Sheena's like, but is it worth losing Ariana? She's like, talk to her, Sheena. Don't just be a people pleaser unless you're pleasing me and Sandoval.
Go where your gut tells you. I don't think we need to tell anyone on this cast to go where their gut tells them, because it has never led to a good place, ever.
Yeah. Instincts don't work on this show. Okay?
Commercials. Here comes one right now.
Academy is a new scripted podcast that follows Ava Richards, played by HBO's Industries' Myha'la Herald, a brilliant scholarship student who has to quickly adapt to her newfound eat or be eaten world. Ava's ambitions take hold and her small-town values break in hopes of becoming the first scholarship student to make the list. Bishop Gray's all-coveted academic top 10, curated by the headmaster himself. But after realizing she has no chance at the list on her own, she reluctantly accepts an invitation to a secret underground society that pulls the strings on campus life and academic success. If she bends to their will, she'll have everything she's ever dreamed of. But at what cost? Academy takes you into the world of a cutthroat private school where power, money, and sex collide in a game of life and death. Follow Academy on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of Academy early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
So Instincts led to a 10-year relationship with Tom Sandoval. Sheena's like, Ariana made it very clear that anyone who chooses to be friends with Sandoval is basically dead to her.
Yeah, but like at the same time, if someone's like really struggling at this level, like how do I keep coming for him? So then
I think this is where I was thinking, like, okay, well, you can not completely forgive the person, but then also not do a podcast about them every day to get money for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a middle ground. Guys.
Also, by the way, let's not forget that Lisa Vanderpump, she has a show that she has to oversee here, and she knows this cast has to get along and has to shoot together. So she's like, come on, stiff up a lip and all that.
But I think also behind the scenes, I think this cast also realizes that, and they've also been shooting now for a while and see what the season is, which is literally nothing. Like nothing is happening. It's like a bunch of kumbaya moments. This is episode 4, which means it's probably week 4-ish. So they're probably like, okay, nothing's happening. And these two are making all these millions off this show and nobody else is. So why are we trying to work? They should be fighting on this show. It's like, let's bring his ass back around. What the hell am I trying to pretend I care about Katie's jean jacket jokes?
That's probably very true. Although, hot take, I'm really enjoying the season. I don't know if other people are enjoying it, but I actually am enjoying it because I feel like everything they're talking about is like real shit in their lives, as opposed to like, dude, let's have like a party where we dress up like we're in gym or something, you know? Like, so it's not full of fireworks, but I'm into it. Oddly enough, I am into it. So, anyway, who cares? So Sheena's like, okay, well, we're going to go to Tahoe. Yeah, because we want to be on the show. So we're going to do that. And Sheena says, she's like, well, yeah, you know, there's like a lake house and like a boat. So like, I'm totally in, like, especially if we can like put Tom in the pool, in the water and see if he can drown like Jax almost did. So they don't know if Sandoval's going to go, but
of course he's going to go. Right.
Yeah,
Like, but
of course.
Just let him come if he wants. Just stop attacking him. No one's perfect, right?
Nope. Just look at Rocio. Random stray over there.
Did you know Rocio has one ear that's bigger than the other? Here, throw a flower at her.
Did you know her foot is composed mainly of cucumbers? How odd.
Sometimes Ken and I like to play this game where we push Rocio down the right side of the stairs and see if she ever touches the left side of the stairs.
Anybody want to play?
We call it Rocio bowling. But not to be confused. Not to be confused with bowling at Rocio, which is where we have a stand at the end of a bowling alley and roll balls at her, just to avoid them. Ken's ball is very slow, but it gets there.
Okay, so now we go to James's, and we know why. Because...
So, pool party! So, it's a big pool party. Katie and Ariana arrive, and then Sheena and Lala arrive. There's basically like 6 people, and James is acting like he is, performing for Cascade again. So he's, pool party, here we go, everyone! And Schwartz comes with some plants, and Allie's like, wow, he brought another plant. I think this is the 3rd plant that Schwartz has given us. I think I'll need a gardener.
That's so Taurus of me. What is she? I forget what she is. Did she tell us? She's like, that's so like Libra. So Jericho, Libra. James's friend, is there. And Schwartz is like, oh, yeah, I'm like sober curious, but I think I'm going to have some of this tequila because it's really good tequila. I'm really curious about the tequila. Oh, no, the girls are here. And last night, the conversation with the group didn't go so well. They tarred and feathered me, man. But I'm Tom Schwartz. I'm not the accessory to the affair. I'm just the guy whose house they used to fuck in and the guy that lied for Tom every day. And whatever.
I'm just the guy who helped this affair continue on quietly behind closed doors without anyone knowing. It was almost like if their affair was the laptop, I was the dongle. I was like the accessory. Oh no, I was the accessory.
I'm just the Kato Kaeland of this affair, guys.
Dude, I told you it was like the OJ trial.
Jesus, just coming here was like everybody chasing me down the freeway in my white Bronco.
Dude, next time with your white Bronco, like you totally add like a purple highlighter underneath the undercarriage. It looks awesome. It's sick.
So James has made a something about her stole floaty, which is actually more progress than the actual restaurant has made. So I have to give them credit. Man, Lay's built them a set box, which we haven't shown yet, right? Did you show yours? The potato chip box?
I feel like I did back. I shot it on the gram back. It was during BravoCon.
I'll get it next time.
It came during BravoCon, so while all of you guys were actually doing something productive with your time, I was taking photos of a Lay's potato box.
Anyway, they did that, and then he's made this floaty version of it. So then now James is doing exactly what you think, mature homeowner would be doing, jumping off the roof into his pool.
Yeah.
Score.
the usual thing. I feel like that is, I've talked a lot of shit about the Valley, but I think that one of the perks of the Valley is that it seems like every house in the Valley has the ability to say, I'm a golden god, and jump into a pool. Like, I think all houses in the Valley are zoned so that way there's at least one roof very close to a pool that you can jump into. So that's cool.
Okay, so now we go to the classiest place we've seen in a long time on this show, Into Me Sea.
Okay, this is a real stretch.
Into Me Sea.
There are a lot of really bad pun stores in Los Angeles, and a lot of bad, silly named. Here's where the silly names are in Los Angeles. Anyone who opens up like a pho restaurant, they love a pun, like pho me, or
90210 pho. That was my favorite.
All those. But then New Age stuff also. Into Me Sea. This is a real stretch here because it's spelled Into Me C-S-E-A.
And they pronounce it intimacy. So intimacy, and also it sounds gross because I don't want to go sit in a tub of someone's cum. You know what I mean? Like, what is this, below deck? That's what it sounds like, right? People fuck in these tubs. You want to come in?
It is literally like, I think it's trying to seem deep, but it's really just saying, welcome to a sea of self-involvement. It literally says, into me, see. Like, I'm into me. Which
is a perfect place for a Tom Sandoval scene. So let's go with Billy Lee. The added bonus of Billy Lee. Wow, how'd she ever get fired? Crazy.
So they walk into me see, and the lady's like, welcome, this is our quantum wellness studio. Have you guys ever done cold plunges before? And Sandoval tells us, this whole situation with like the scandal and the aftermath, I've like been really stressed out, like depressed and overwhelmed. And like, I realized that I have to be able to handle those emotions in different ways, healthier ways. I'm like, go to therapy, not an ice bucket challenge.
Yeah, this is going to fix everything. So he gets in this bath of cold water, and Billy's just like kneeling down, watching him with her eyes really wide. Billy looks like someone's always throwing keys at her. You know what I mean? Like
I think you said that. That's so true.
She has that look of fear in her eyes that I get when someone throws keys at me. Like, but she's just always like, she just stays like that. It's like someone slapped her on the back when keys were being thrown at her. And she's like, how are you feeling, Tom? How are you feeling? Is it cold? And he's like,
it's cold, bro. It's hard, bro. It's hard. She's like, what is the pain level? Between 1 and 10. He's like, oh, dude, it's like a 9, bro.
Oh, man, it feels like especially weird right now because I've never been an outsider with my group of friends. And I just feel like Andy Dufresne when he first gets to Shawshank, man. Like, I wish I could just get back some part of my life, my old life. It's just like always the people that are closest to you that seem to hurt you the most. I was like, yeah, isn't that funny how the people that are closest to you hurt you the most? You should ask Ariana about that, actually.
Just ask your mom about that.
You should ask literally the person at Starbucks.
Should ask her non-retired yet mother about that, who no longer has her fund to retire, Tom. So then he like goes forward and ducks his head in the water and like slowly brings it out, and the water brings his forward ducktail down, and he just like poses and flexes for the camera. It's like, wow,
and Billy Lee is watching.
Team song. What a meaningful scene, Tom. Oh my God.
Billy Lee has this smile on her face like, oh my God, I can't believe he did it. Oh my God. She's like watching Frankenstein come to life or something. Like, she's just like,
it's like, so many people are going to come see me at my open mic at Laugh Factory now.
Can't wait to tell off Sweet Lady Jane's bakery when it closes. So now back to the pool party. And again, we know this because while Tom is like in the pool, we hear the so another plane goes over by, and then the pool party, Lala's talking about how her bathing suit makes me want to get a BBL. I want to get a BBL, especially after everything I've gone through with Rand, because I know what it's like to carry the shame of someone who's called a Michelle. Okay, Lala.
This is so a conversation between a new LA young, fresh person and an older, haggard LA person. Okay. I want to get a BBLs. Old haggard person, young person. Same. Let's just hold each other accountable and do 50 squats a day. That's like so. I just got to LA, isn't it?
Right.
You know what we should do? We should be accountability buddies. Fuck off. How about that? I don't want a fucking accountability. Get some fat from my face and put it into my ass. Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say the new person to LA actually has dreams that if you work hard for something, you'll achieve it. The person who's been through the works knows you just got to do what you can do. You got to just cheat your way to the top. I mean, that's how. I mean, look, Tom Sandoval is literally on the cover of New York Times Magazine. He literally cheated his way to the top. Okay, you just got to cut corners where you can. So Ali says that James hasn't had a drink in 3 months. And Lala's like, yeah, the first 30 days is like freaking hard. It's sort of like the first 30 days when I was separated from Rand, because that was like a really big thing when I was separated from Rand, you know?
And then we cut to James outside going, look, it's like beers, but they're weed, bro. And then he like pops them open and starts like chugging. It's doing great. That's for that sobriety is killing.
So do you guys ever have conversations about why he got sober? Because I've had a lot of sobering conversations about the trauma I went through when I was married to Rand. You know, it was such a tough time for me in my life, and I feel like it's something that I really understand well and can talk about at length.
She's like, well, did he ever tell you why he got sober? Because I want to know, like, why? Why did he get sober? What was his rock bottom moment? I can't wait to use it against him later. And she's like, I'm not going to, like, share that personally, but, like, you could ask him about it, and then maybe he could tell you about it. She's like, wait, everybody has their rock bottom moments, Alice. Tell me what's his rock bottom moment? I'm not going to tell you. Tell me, Alice. Tell me I'm going to use your face and put it in my ass. It's a BBL.
Don't tell anyone, but his rock bottom moment literally happened at the restaurant Rock Bottom. He threw some spinach artichoke dip against the wall, and I was like, you're at the rock bottom. He's like, I know, Ella. That's what we're eating at. It was terrible.
And Lala's like, well, here's my rock bottoms. And she talks about when she went to Disney World with Rand's family and Rand's kids and was wasted the whole time and was like, that was rock bottoms for me. I mean, nothing's worse than telling Cinderella off for having a pancake ass. But I did it. I came back and I changed my fucking life.
I mean, do you know how difficult it was for me when Rand got into the Dumbo ride and had to be pried out by a fire engine team? And I was drunk the entire time? That was my rock bottoms.
Mm-hmm. So she's like, yeah, but like with ups and downs, I don't want to trigger James because sobriety is something I'm very passionate about. So meanwhile, James is like chugging the drinks outside and starting all the hamburgers on fire. And Ariana's just like, fire, James, it's a fire.
And he starts like flapping something at it, and Ariana's like, don't fan the flames, James, don't fan the flames, which just felt poetic for this show. I mean, this is the show that's all about fanning flames.
I know, it's like that's the name of the spinoff. Don't fan the flames. Then he does fan the flames, and then he starts DJing. And at first I was like, this is so shitty to have people come to your party where they're forced to listen to your shitty DJ sets. But then I remembered myself, because, you know, a party at my house is like, Danke Shane, darling, Danke Shane. Ronnie Oki. It's like, there's karaoke here? Nope, it's just for me. You can have a seat right over there. Enjoy the Fritos.
So now Lala is talking with Schwartz in the corner, and she goes, hey, I know I came pretty heavy last night, sort of like all the heavy experiences I had after I got divorced from Rand after he cheated on me. Would you like to ask any questions about it? It was a tough time. We can make it the story of the season if you want.
It's not as heavy as I came with LaDon, though. That was some squirtings.
So I'm still working on, like, don't get triggered by your experiences, but that's going to be a process. And he goes, yeah, that's beautiful. I love this. I'm so tired of keeping my dukes up. I can't go from, like, machetes to crying in the fetal position. There has to be a middle ground for me. He's like, yeah. Oh, and I appreciate you acknowledging that. You know, we all have problems, but there was a moment last night, and Ariana looked at me like I was subhuman, like I was just some muck that came out of the river, which, to be fair, I do spend a lot of time just rolling around in rivers, so I kind of get that.
Like she's been exalted to this queen status or something. Okay. First of all, Lala is such a guy on this show, isn't she? You can tell that she's like paid more attention to the guys, like how the guys behave on this show, because she acts just like one of the guys. She acts like an asshole, and then she comes back and she's like, I'm totally different now. I'm a different Lala than the Lala you knew before. So she's doing her Lala 6.0 or whatever she's on now. And Tom understands it. So he's like, she's one of us now. And we're just she's guy coding her language. So, okay, Ariana's a bitch, right? Immediately, you know?
It's also like such the thing that like a guy, especially on this show, would be pissed at Ariana being put on to an alleged pedestal because that's the pedestal that he wants to be on. He literally wants to be on a pedestal. That's why he's always like, oh, I'm so cute. Put me on a cute pedestal. And it's like, yeah, Ariana has been put on a pedestal, but the pedestal, it's not so much that Ariana was put on a pedestal. It's like she was standing on just normal ground and the ground beneath all the rest of you guys just sunk, you know? So she just sort of became a pedestal. But I think it's like, yeah, she was put on a pedestal because when Sandoval happened, we all sort of had a moment where we said, you know what? A, this is wild, but B, Ariana's been the only cast member over 10 years who's been more or less pretty chill, pretty reasonable, pretty nice. Like, no one is without fault, for sure. But it's one of those moments where you think, gosh, everyone on this show has been so terrible at one time or another. And Ariana's been like the only, like, semi-decent one. And then she's the one who just gets cheated on in this way. And so everyone wanted to give her some flowers. And now they are all so resentful of it. It is hilarious.
She's like, yeah, she was put on a pedestal, is what you're trying to say. And he's like, yeah, there's like a diva energy, you know, but I'm not going to fawn over her and, you know, just for her affection or validation from her. I mean, that was very triggering last night. That was really triggering. Really? Maybe it was triggering that you not only brought her ex who totally fucked her over, but then tried to get all of her friends to hang out with him and her at the same time. Like, why is that not okay for her to be triggered about that? Jeez. So she's like, yeah, but that's natural. But I thought you handled it so well. But, you know, like, I was triggered. Okay, can we all just stop being triggered, first of all? Please. I can't.
Yeah, but I was triggered though, because I immediately took it that you talked about my ego. So there are times when I take things at heart, okay? For instance, you know, like when Rand cheated on me and then left me and I kind of had a Lalaval moment there instead of Scandoval moment, you know? And like that was kind of a big thing. So maybe we should talk about that a little bit more this season, you know?
Scandalala.
Yeah, Randaval. No,
Randaval works, yeah. Randaval.
Randaval's just Rand and Tom Sandoval mixed together.
Scandalala.
Scanda.
And the small letters under it say Randus means.
Scandalemit.
Scandalala. Randus and Pornmouth.
Scrandaval.
So she's like, yeah, but I'm just working on not being a dog in everyone else's fights. I used to think it was my superpower to call people into shits, but it's just not healthy. And at some points, I have to practice forgiveness. I cannot wear my traumas like a badge of honor forever. For example, I'm triggered and traumatized. I was like, you just said triggered. I don't think you're allowed to talk about not wearing your trauma as a bandage anymore. You've said triggered 5 times this episode.
This was actually a major step for Lala to realize that she doesn't actually have to step in and call people on their shit every single second. I think that maybe now that she has a podcast, she has realized, oh, you don't have to step in. You just have to have a podcast and talk about people on your podcast. And it's just as fun and rewarding.
Yeah. So Lala's like, yeah, I didn't mean to have you abandon Tom, but come on, you just chase everyone. You know, it's how my dad was. And people just bulldozed over him. And the stress of it, truly, I believe it killed my dads. So I want you to do things for you for once. I was like, you're talking to one of the most selfish people on this show.
I know.
Okay? Like, can we not? His wife just left him because he's a selfish piece of shit. Can we stop acting like Tom Schwartz is also not a selfish piece of shit? Just because he walks around talking in a baby voice does not make him not a selfish piece of shit. But I also know Lala now, and I know what she's doing, and I like it. This is Lala where she's just resetting everybody and getting everybody back in place so that she has people to yell at. Because if everyone's mad at you and no one's talking to you, who are you going to yell at? at. You know, you got to have people standing in front of you to yell at.
And she also knows, I mean, here's the thing, that I have been the biggest Lala fan. She has also driven me absolutely nuts. But one thing you can never take away from Lala is she knows how to play the game. And she's like Lisa. She's like, we have a show to shoot here. So we have to start like, I'm just going to suck it up and try to make things nice with Schwartz.
Hello there. This is a 2-part recap, okay? This is the end of part 1. So thank you so much for listening to this. Just come back a little later for part 2.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Stroll in the park with Caitlin Clark.
She's not just a Sheila, she's a Daniela. Itchels. Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. She's never scary, it's the Green Fairy. Jamie, she has no last namey.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know your worth with Jason Kurth.
She's the wind beneath our Jennifer Wing.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's always supplying, it's Kelly Ryan.
Kristen the Piston Anderson. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino. Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender. We want to hang with Liz Lang. The incredible edible Matthews sisters.
Give him hell, Miss Noel.
She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke.
Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She's quite the catch. It's Victoria Cotchett.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.
Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Watch What Crappens ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the Amazon Music app today. Or you can listen ad-free with Wondery Plus in Apple Podcasts. Before you go, tell us about yourself by completing a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
From Wondery, this is Black History for Real. I'm Francesca Ramsey.
And I'm Conscious Lee.
What do most people think about when they hear the words Black History?
Rosa Parks, Reconstruction, MLK, February, Black History Month.
Exactly. There are so many stories of Black history that we just are not really talking about or thinking about, especially outside of February. And we are about to flip the script on all of that. Because on this show, you're going to hear a little less,
in August 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
And a little bit more.
She is a heroine to some. As a fighter for black rights, she is a villain to others.
Follow Black History for Real on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Listen everywhere on February 5th, or you can listen early and ad-free on Wondery Plus starting January 29th. Join Wondery Plus on the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.